Now available for the first time on Google Play, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are falling apart in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy on Google Play today. A avowed white supremacist has been charged by law enforcement with the kidnapping, sexual violation, sexual abuse, and torture of a black woman in his Kansas City, Missouri home. Now, according to reports, your Timothy Haslet Jr. is alleged to have kidnapped an unnamed black woman, put a restraint collar on her along with chains and ankle restraints, and put her in his basement where he whipped and sexually violated and abused this woman over a prolonged period of time. And it wasn't until your Timothy Haslet allegedly wanted to take his son to school that this woman was able to escape. And as she was wandering in the neighborhood, she found a neighbor who found her, and they contacted police, who later on went and arrested your Timothy Haslet, and he was charged for the sexual violation of this woman, kidnapping, torture, and her abuse. Now, this woman also alleges that there were other women in that home who were tortured the exact same way. However, police have not been able to substantiate that evidence. However, they did find evidence of this torture chamber inside of your Timothy Haslet's home, allegedly. And after finding this torture chamber, this showed that this man possibly had this whole area where he was participating in this type of sexual deviancy for an extended period of time. Now, the police are saying that this is an isolated incident, but when I take a look at the behavior of this white supremacist and take a critical examination of his depraved behavior, it fits right in line with the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And after reading about Timothy Haslet Jr.'s behavior, it's clearly described in The Man Crisis in the chapters The Sexual Frustration of the Beta Male and the Sexual Deviancy of the Beta Male. Now, your Timothy Haslet Jr. does what I described in those chapters as having that double life where he goes out here and participates in his deviant behaviors in a place I call the secret world. Now, your Timothy Haslet Jr., a avowed white supremacist, was open about his white supremacy, but he had a secret life where he participated in his sexual deviancy. And as he lived a double life similar to that of the BTK killer, he lived this life where he was this family man who participated in white supremacy by day on the surface, and in his secret world, he was out here participating in his deviant sexual behavior by going out here and torturing and sexually abusing black women and sexually violating those black women, because in his secret world, these black women were not human, and because they were not human, he believed that they were objects that he could go out here and participate in his deviant sexual fantasies with. And as he participated in his deviant sexual fantasies in that secret world in his basement, he felt like he could be the actual white supremacist he wanted to be, because he couldn't go out. He could go out here and speak the rhetoric of white supremacy. What he really wanted to do was be like the slave master and go out here and participate in abusing black women. And the only place he felt he could do this was in that place that's called the secret world. And that's what a lot of beta males like to go to the secret world for, because they know they cannot go out into the real world and dehumanize and degrade women like they really want. So what they do is go to that secret world, and in that secret world they feel safe about going out here and beating up and abusing women. And this guy, he wanted to go out here and beat up and abuse black women. So this is what he did inside of his torture chamber in the basement. What he did was go out here and, I believe that woman's story where she says that there were other women, he would kidnap these black women, and what he would do is go out here and participate in these acts of sexual deviancy that he could not do to those pure and pristine white women that he imagined in his mind. No, he wanted to go out here and humiliate and degrade black women, because in his white supremacist mind and his beta male mind, he could go out here and abuse these black women, and he could go out here, torture them, beat them, whip them, and humiliate them, because in his eyes, these black women were not people. And because he believed these black women were not people, he basically, again, looked to torture this woman until she died. And he wanted to go out here and torture this woman to the point where this woman was basically, she had lost so much weight, and she was barely about, I believe, 70 or 80 pounds. So this woman had been held for an extended period of time as this man participated in his depraved and deviant behavior. Meanwhile, on the surface, he was out here living a life where he created this facade where he made himself look like he was one of these white supremacist family men, but in actuality, he was a demon participating in deviant behaviors for an extended period of time. And this is something that many beta males go out here and do, because the beta male is insecure about his manhood and masculinity in the real world. And because he's insecure about his manhood and masculinity in the real world and feels inadequate about his manhood and masculinity, what he does is he wants to go to the secret world where he believes he can feel safe again to be the man that he wants to be. And with these white supremacists, many of them feel inadequate about their manhood and masculinity. And because they feel inadequate about their manhood and masculinity, they cannot go out here and express their actual hatred and contempt for black people the way they want to do. So this is why this man was going to the secret world, because he wanted to go out here and have that feeling that he could go out here and destroy a human being. That's what he wanted to do in actuality. Now, in the real world, he was out here, again, he was living with this family and everything like that, and he wanted to live that smooth world on the outside, but he had a dark and sinister world that he was living in. And again, it just shows you how sick these beta males can become, because these beta males, they are like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They have two different faces, and they have one face for the world that makes it appear like they are just some guy out here, but in actuality they live a whole different life underneath. And it's in that place that people find out how sick and depraved they are once that world gets revealed to everyone. And this sister wound up revealing that entire world about this man to the entire world. And now we know that your Timothy Haslet Jr. has been revealed to be a deviant. We have now been revealed to be somebody who has a whole sickness as related to their sexual behavior. and is showing us that he is just like the BTK killer, as alleged, because some people, the woman alleges that there were more bodies. And again, I listened to her and I study the pattern as related to these beta males, and I believe that yes, there possibly could be more bodies based on the pattern of these beta males and the pattern of the behavior that they participate in. Because these types of beta males, again, they live a secret life, and this woman is just unearthing some of the bones as related to this guy's graveyard, and we may possibly wind up with a huge graveyard if there is a federal investigation. And I believe after watching Professor Black Truth's video on Timothy Haslet Jr., we do need an FBI investigation into him, because this guy possibly is one of those beta males who was, again, living a double life. And because he tried to keep his two worlds smooth, we have to go and dig deeper to find all of the skeleton bones that are in that graveyard, because with these beta males, you don't know how many bones are in that yard, because these men separate their worlds, and with their deviant behavior, they look to destroy the evidence. So there may be a lot of bodies out there and a lot of families that are missing their daughters, because these guys, they stalk places possibly like your Tinder, looking for women, and a lot of those women never come back. So with this kind of guy, you don't know what's going on as related to them. And again, these guys are really dangerous, because you don't know what they're about. Because again, when you're dealing with a beta male who is, again, living this double life, it's like two completely different worlds, and it just is a shock and is disturbing to everyone when they find out the truth about him. Because when I look at this guy and the alleged story related to him, it really mirrors that of the BTK killer. The BTK killer was living a double life where he was this family man and on the surface, but by night he was saying that he was working late, and as he said he was working late, he was working on participating in deviant sexual behavior where he bound, tortured, and killed women. And this man's behavior really mirrors that of the BTK killer. And again, he is a white supremacist who who saw black women as a way for him to participate in his deviant sexual fetish. And his deviant sexual fetish was torturing black women, abusing black women, and dehumanizing black women, breaking down black women. And he is somebody who I'm glad is off the street, because this man was a monster who looked to destroy the lives of black women. And hopefully, if he goes through the criminal justice system and is convicted, Bubba, Tiny, and Roscoe will be out here looking to break him the way he broke black women, and they will be breaking him down and bending him over as they trade him for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, cups of coffee, packets of Crystal Light, Kit Kat candy bars, or six-pack Oreo cookies, and all of the commissary. And this white supremacist will learn the hard way that he will receive what he has given to that black woman and many other alleged black women. They will turn him out and spit roast him and show him what he gave that woman, because they don't really like these perverts and deviants who violate women in prison. And possibly they'll wind up turning this guy inside out, the way he was looking to go out here and hurt these black women. That's possibly could be the final fate that awaits your Timothy Haslet Jr., who would get what he deserves, because if you're a white supremacist who looks to degrade black women, you deserve to remain in prison for the rest of your life. And if you're as sick as this guy was, looking to participate in sexual violence against black women, you deserve whatever you get when you go to prison. You deserve to get whatever happens to you, because this is the sickest kind of individual. And this, again, is because this man he's afraid to be the man that he wants to be. And now that people know the man who he really is, he's a monster who deserves everything that he would possibly get in prison if he's convicted. If the evidence shows that he did do all of this, participate in this kind of deviancy, then they need to throw the book at this monster. And what's really troubling is, from Professor Black Truth's video, there were people looking to cover for this guy. This is not a kind of man you want to cover for, because to cover for this type of deviant means you support his kind of deviancy, and that's really disturbing, because it would show that your criminal justice system and law enforcement, if they would support a monster like this, then we've got a real serious problem, because there's no defending the alleged behavior that this man participated in. Because if this man would do this to a black woman, eventually he would start doing this to white women, because this type of beta male, from my research, he doesn't see any woman as a human being. And because he doesn't see any woman as a human being, he looks to break down women, because the only way he could feel like a man is by going out here and hurting other women. That's what these beta males go out here and do all the time. They want to go out here and break a woman down. They want to destroy a woman's soul. They want to humiliate a woman. And that's what makes these the sickest of all of the beta males who are a part of the men who are in crisis. Now, if you want to learn more about what motivates males like this to participate in their disturbing behavior, and what makes many of these males go out here and be so dysfunctional today, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis on Smashwords, the iBook store, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more men's issues videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, from the author of the critically acclaimed book The Man Crisis comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women are becoming lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Pre-order your copy of The Woman Crisis on Amazon.com today.